You say Ruth Bader Ginsburg recently made a revealing decision or a revealing a mission in favor of cleansing of America of unwanted populations by aborting them. You're talking about unwanted populations. That's amazing to me.
She wasn't talking about the white population.
Yeah, I don't care what color they are.
Right.
I mean, my son could be classified as unwanted.
Your baby
He's adopted.
could have been.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's abhorrent. Yeah. You're talking about Margaret Sanger kind of.
Absolutely.
Where she was targeting, and they're still doing it.
And it comes in all colors. That movement comes in all colors. It's not a color thing.
Right.
It's a eugenics
genocide and eugenics.
So, but where does is this a movement of reparations to make this stop? It's a penalty. It's not a It's not a pay me to get rich. It's a penalty.
Yeah, just a restitution.
Exactly. Where does
restore what you've done by all this genocide and murder and decimation? But
let me ask you that we have 2 minutes here, so let me see if we can drill down here, because when you say you're for reparations, that word even just makes me nuts, because I didn't do it.
No, you didn't.
I'm not responsible. I don't pay for the sin of the father, or in cases of the great-great-great-great-grandfather. Reparations with BP, you're darn right. It's happening right now. These people are here. They should pay.
That's what we're saying. That's exactly what those who have done the real injury should be the ones to pay
today.
And they've got
these
big corporations with all this money today, and they could fix it.
What we know biblically, Moses was instructed by God that the sins of the father shall not be transmitted to the sons.
Right.
So the sons are not guilty of the father's actions, nor the father guilty of the son's actions. It is the one who is perpetrating the action that has that responsibility. The culpability is not with the government, as we have said, but rather it is with those who are exercising that genocidal practice upon our community today. And there is a eugenics movement that's still alive in America, and that group is the group that we're talking about.
You can't build good upon evil. And Planned Parenthood was built on evil.
Yes.
I mean, that's a bad tree. The roots are bad. You got to pull the tree up.
And that's who owes the reparations.
Okay, back in just a second. Still with us, Dr. Aveda King, Pastoral Associate for Priest for Life. She is the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Stephen Broden is the senior pastor at Fair Park Bible Fellowship, running for Congress in Texas. First of all, let me ask you this. Aveda, I don't think we've announced this, because I haven't talked to you personally, face to face on this, about announcing that you were going to stand with me on 8/28.
Yes.
I stood about, 6 weeks ago at the Lincoln Memorial. I would have never made the decision to do it had I lived in Washington and actually been able to stand there and looked at it. After we announced it, I went down and I stood on the stair where your uncle stood. And I'm going to choke up just talking about it. It is, what went through my mind was, who the hell do you think you are? It is such a historic place to be. People are saying now that I am trying to distort civil rights history. I'm trying to steal his legacy, etc., etc. Nothing of the kind. I am going to be several stairs down from where he stood. Are you getting heat from people for even being on this program, or you are?
Well, Glenn, I've been getting some heat, but I always answer that with the same force, the force of love. And when I bring that force back and I give, for example, when people say, how are you going to go and be on that show? I said, have you looked at Glenn's website? No. I said, go and visit the website. If you see anything on 8/28 that you don't like and you don't agree with, call me back. So they go and do that, and they say, well, really? I said, have you looked at his show yourself? Well, sometimes. I said, so really, now go and read the end of the How I Have a Dream speech. Martin had a dream that Protestants and Catholics and Gentiles and Jews, black men and white men, all people would join together. I said, so how could Glenn be excluded from that opportunity and still be answering what my uncle said? And they always get quiet. I say, my uncle loved Glenn. He loves you. I mean, I say he's in heaven now with God, of course. My father, Reverend A.D. King, and my mom, Naomi, who attended the speech with him. And so people get very quiet. I said, so tell me why Glenn Beck shouldn't do this. Right. Tell me why Martin Luther King would agree that Glenn shouldn't do this. And there's no answer to that, because you should do it.
I mean, what better expression of the fulfillment of the dream than to have you take on that responsibility to stand before our nation and declare that the dream is still in motion. It's still in motion. It always
will be. It always will be. Man is never perfect. Right. We'll always be making mistakes. But the idea is not to go backwards. You know, Al Sharpton was on this program, and he said it, and I don't want to denigrate the man. He's been very reasonable with me.
Yeah, and he can be.
He said on this program, and I kind of think he said it smugly in a way. He said, "Well, now maybe some of you Tea Party or some of you people might understand what we've been talking about." I grew up in Seattle, the Seattle area. It's a little small farming town. I didn't see oppression. I didn't see it. And I recognize that. I've never been discriminated against. First time I saw real discrimination and real racism is I went into the deep South maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago. And I was in a conversation and I heard these white people talking. I'm like, what are we all of a sudden in like a 1950s bad movie here? What the hell? What are you? It was bizarre to me.
Well, Glenn, can I say this? If you think about it, my uncle Dr. King, when he was a young boy, my father, A.D. King, his sister, they played with white kids in the neighborhood, and they were very close. It took the white parents to say to their children, you can't play with them anymore, they're colored. And then the freedom rides of 1961, remember all that turmoil and fight that they went through, and that's why we're having the pro-life freedom rides now this year, as a matter of fact, next week. And so all of these activities causing people artificially to hate each other. And that's what's coming against you. The artificialness of it. Well, we can't go and stand with Glenn because his skin looks like this. That's ridiculous. Or his eyes look this way and my eyes look that way.
Well, that's
wrong. That's
I will tell you that this is such a moment in history because Al Sharpton was right. I couldn't relate to it. I still can't relate to it. You know, I say to people all the time, you have not received a baton to the head. You have not had somebody hose you down or stick dogs. You have not had a separate water fountain. None of us have.
But Glenn,
that look like me, we haven't had it.
But you don't have to go through it to understand it.
But
there is a difference. I understand that. And I have known that it is wrong, and I've tried my best my whole life to stand for what I think is right. But there is a difference on seeing it firsthand and going, wait, injustice. This isn't, wait a minute, what are you doing? Yeah. Right. When you see what's happening with the DOJ and the Black Panthers, you're like, wait a minute. And in a very small way, I think a lot of Americans are seeing for the first time firsthand real injustice. And I go back to what I think Moses heard from God, and I will harden Pharaoh's heart. Yeah. This is an opportunity to really bring people together because we now both sides in varying much greater different degrees, but both sides can see it and go, oh my gosh, let's wipe this out.
Yes.
Well, you got that in there real nicely, Moses and the hard heart of Pharaoh. The hard heart of Pharaoh made it known to the nation of Israel that they were not in a good situation. If his heart was not hard, they would have wanted to stay in Egypt. But because God juxtaposed that hard heart to where they are and what they were really experiencing, it broke the deception. And I would submit to you today that America is under great deception. This is what Paul says in Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. See to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception, according to the traditions of men and the elementary principles of the world, rather than of Jesus Christ. We are in a situation now where I believe the liberal progressive left in America is forcing a godless doctrine down our throats. Now we're recognizing what it is, and that juxtaposition is causing us to stand up now.
You know what? The other great thing about hardening Pharaoh's heart is the people, the chosen people, if you will, When they got it.
They got it.
They got it, and they recognized it was God that set them free.
Yes.
Yeah.
Too many people, because the other side as well, the Tea Party side as well,
Yeah.
well, we'll fix this through politics. No, you're not.
They're not going to be able
You're
to do
not
that.
going to be able to fix
That
it.
won't
It will
happen.
only be God.
Right. It will
Back
be
in
God.
just a second.
You bet.
We're here with Dr. Alveda King and Pastor Stephen Broden. And I want to, this Friday, I'd like to give people, I'm not usually really good at the hope thing. I want to give people a little bit of hope. We were talking in the break about miracles that are coming. I don't know if you watch this show every night, I don't know if you remember, I don't remember when it was, but I said on this program, and it just kind of spilled out of me, and I said, mark my words, you will see mighty and powerful miracles in your lifetime.